we look at pure science and applied science. We gave examples of both pure and applied sciences, such as physics and engineering, respectively. We also identified some prominent scientists both in Ghana and on the international stage. You are now going to study about science and technology, their importance, interrelationship, and applications. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to 1. Explain science and technology. 2. Recognize the importance of science. 3. Identify interrelationship in science and technology. 4. Differentiate between science and technology. 5. Recognize the relevance of solving problems using knowledge from different branches of science. Now let's start with the first issue, importance of science. There are many reasons for studying science, among which are providing us with vocations, enabling us to understand the basic principles of nature, providing answers to questions about nature, teaching us scientific attitudes and methods, helping us to improve general health standards and to reduce the belief in superstition, helping us to acquaint ourselves with the contributions of outstanding scientists. Science and technology. Science, as we have explained in our previous lesson, is the process by which individuals accumulate knowledge and skills in which they can place a high and often measurable degree of confidence. Technology, on the other hand, is the application of knowledge and skills acquired to improve life and satisfy the needs of individuals. Today, we have genetically modified organisms, GMOs. Now we have genetically modified plants which are more resistant to pests and adverse weather conditions, producing high yields and have a relatively longer shelf life than the ordinary plants. This is a result of technology. There are several examples we could cite. Do think about some of these yourself. Now let's focus on the interrelationship between science and technology. Science discovers fundamental information about how the universe works. Technology is the practical application of the information about how the universe works. For example, it has been discovered that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be transformed from one form to another. That is a law of conservation of energy. Technology has practicalized this discovery. The generation of hydroelectric power is a typical example where the running water turns or propels fans to generate electricity. The water in the dam, which is static water, has potential energy. The water is channeled through tunnels to propel huge fans. The running water transforms the potential energy to kinetic energy. The propelling fan generates electricity. So in the generation of electric power, energy is transformed from one form to another. Another classical example is the Newton's third law of motion, which states that whenever a force acts on one body, an equal and opposite force acts on some other body. Simply put, to every action, there is equal and opposite reaction. This discovery of science by Newton has been applied by technologists to design and construct rockets. The rocket, which forms a familiar feature of fireworks display, contains solid chemicals which burns to produce a high velocity blast of hot gas. Space rockets, which are designed to travel long distances, have tanks of liquid fuel, together with a supply of either liquid oxygen or some other liquid which generates oxygen to enable the fuel to burn. A chemical reaction takes place inside the rocket and creates a large force which propels the gaseous products of combustion out through the tail nozzle with tremendous velocity. The reaction of this force propels the rocket forwards. We use technology to learn about science, and we use science to build technology. In the discovery of new planets and how habitable they are, NASA has designed and developed state-of-the-art space robots or crafts, that is technology, to study the weather, soil, and other elements to see whether humans can inhabit those planets. So you can see the technology here is spacecraft, and the investigations made, on the other hand, had to do with science discoveries. The products, that is the principles and the theories of science, cannot be seen or felt, but the products of technology can be seen or felt. Science can only be demonstrated, whereas technology can be bought and used. Scientific principles and theories can be understood, whereas technology can be used without understanding. Changes in the scientific knowledge occur gradually, whereas changes in technology occurs within a short time. Science is seen as knowing why, and technology is seen as knowing how. Science is searching for and theorizing about cause, whereas technology searches for and puts into practice new processes. Science analyzes, generalizes, and creates theories, whereas technology analyzes and synthesizes designs. Let us now look at science as an integrated subject. Integrated science involves teaching and learning several fields of science as a whole, such that none of the fields stands out on its own. This is to enable students to appreciate science and to identify the interrelationships that exist among the various subjects of science in solving problems. A typical example is dealing with infected crops in a farm. One has to understand the pest and how it spreads, which is biology. One has to understand the science of cultivation, which is agriculture. One has to develop an effective pesticide, which is chemistry. One has to develop a pesticide that will kill the pest but would be safe on the crop without having any effect on the individuals that will consume it. That is biochemistry. One has to design and produce sprayers for efficient spreading of the pesticide. That is physics and engineering. One has to calculate the amount of pesticide required to spray, say, a land acre of an infected crop. That is mathematics. So solving the problem of infected crops, you have biology, agriculture, chemistry, biochemistry, physics, and mathematics at play. That is integrated science. In summary, let's look at what we've learned in today's lesson. We explained what science and technology are and how they are interrelated. We talked about the differences between science and technology. Finally, we looked at integrated science and how the knowledge from the different branches of science are combined to solve problems in our everyday life. Now, viewers, all too soon, our time is up. Keep revising.